I got the prognosis. It was mantle cell lymphoma for somebody at my age, 69, was about 5-year survival rate was about 40%, and that's not completely cancer-free, so that percentage is smaller. And I thought, I want to live a lot longer than 5 years. I want to live a long life and free of cancer. When I got here, I started with a half a golf ball size lump, but by the time I got here, it was way out to here. So this was all swollen, and my neck was deformed, and it was quite obvious what was going on. So because of that, here said, then we're going to watch that go away. So that's what we're looking for. We want to make your neck go back to normal. As you can see, it's pretty normal now. All the lymphoma in my neck is gone. Cancer cells have left. So that was a blessing too, having something visible. Most people that have cancer, most of the other patients here, everything's inside their body. You don't see any change physically. You have to look at imaging and blood work and so on. But this has been obvious. The first 4 weeks of treatment here, there was no change. So it stayed the same. About the fifth, sixth week, it started going down dramatically. I think my neck measured 16.5 inches at the widest point, and it's down to 13 now. So I'm very grateful for the change and for the healing here. My name is Tom Hoyt, and I live with my wife on San Juan Island in Washington. About 6 months ago, I noticed a lump on the right side of my neck. It was probably about half a golf ball at that time. It didn't concern me that much at the time. I thought I'd wait and see if the swelling went down on its own, and it didn't. So my wife pushed me to go to the hospital and get it checked. They ended up giving me 2 CT scans that showed swelling and gave me a lymphoma diagnosis. They didn't know what type. So that led to biopsies, blood tests, and finally a PET scan. The whole process took about 3 months, and confirmed that it was mantle cell lymphoma, which is a rare subtype of lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's. During that time, shortly after I had the CT scans and got the original diagnosis, I knew right off the bat that if I was going to get treatment, I didn't want to go with conventional treatment, but I did want to go consult with an oncologist at a cancer center and get the PET scans so I could get the best diagnosis I could get. But I started researching for alternative cancer treatment and found an Oasis of Healing. I read about it. It's one of the few places in the United States that offers alternative treatment. I started looking at Dr. Lodi and looked for other possible treatment alternatives, and I kept coming back to an Oasis of Healing. So finally I got my PET scan. The whole process took about 3 months to get the complete diagnosis and to meet with an oncologist at a major cancer center in Washington. The meeting was just diagnosis, prognosis, and then treatment plan. About 15 minutes. I tried to talk about other things. There really wasn't room for that. After that meeting with the oncologist, I called and said, I'm ready to start. So I came here, and the first day I showed up, I was greeted with a smile, and they said, let's take care of you. So they took care of me. I've been very fortunate. I haven't had any side effects from the lymphoma. And I felt great every day I've been here. One thing I want to say about an Oasis of Healing is that the name kind of says it all. It is a place of healing. And from my first days here, even though you're overwhelmed with a lot of information, I knew from the time that I started that I was going to start healing right away. I knew it. And that's been part of every day here, is knowing that I'm healing and not so much focusing on the lymphoma, but focusing on the mind and body, the spiritual, emotional, mental aspect of it. I learned while I was here why I got cancer and had a lot of profound moments, kind of digging deep and looking at the internal transformation. There were some very important moments, and it took time. I don't think I started making headway there for probably the first month. And I think the headway that I made in that space was directly related to seeing the change in the physical and having the CFCs actually start to move and die off. This place is special, and I don't think there's very many places even around the world that are like this. There are moments where you just sit in your chair, your comfortable, easy chair, and you might be hooked up to IVs, but you shut your eyes, and when I shut my eyes, I'd hear laughter, hear positive conversations, happiness, and that's so much a part of the healing here. Every single person on the staff, the nursing staff, the administration, the kitchen chefs contributed to my healing. I've been in gratitude every day for that. I come in here with joy and happiness and gratitude, because everybody that works here is positive, transparent, vulnerable. They'll talk to you about anything, and it is holistic. I mean, it really is holistic in the sense that everything here, and all the processes, all the encouragement, all the therapies, all contribute to your healing. Anybody that's considering alternative treatment, I encourage you to really consider an Oasis of Healing. What an Oasis of Healing affords is complete immersion in the healing process. And you have all the support. You have all the physical therapies that you need. You have the physician monitoring to make sure that you're good. Oasis of Healing is, profoundly do no harm is top principle here. So they put the patient first and consider anything that you say to them. They're open-minded, they're transparent, kind. So it's just a great place to be engulfed in the process of healing. And instead of having to drive and go do a therapy here and a therapy there, and remain in the stresses of life and so on. So it just gives you, it's like a retreat. It's like a big health retreat, and you're going to heal. It's impossible really not to compare conventional treatment to the alternative treatment that Oasis provides, partly because I think most of the patients that come here have been through conventional treatment or some amount of conventional treatment and had a bad experience, and they're beat up. And so they're looking for something else after that not going well. And so, being here with the patients, which is a wonderful part of this experience, is the fellowship you have with other patients going through the journey together. But you hear the stories and you see the problems with conventional treatment, with the closed-mindedness of the conventional medical system. The fact they're not really patient-centered. It's about diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment, and the kind of treatment that they prescribe. And you want to talk to them about anything else. Anybody that says, I'm going to go to get alternative treatment, they say, well, you're probably going to die. It won't work. But you have to ask yourself, what's the real quackery? When you have a system that's totally closed-minded to alternative treatment that works, they won't talk about radical remission or any remission that doesn't have to do with conventional treatment. Again, when I met with my oncologist, it was a 15-minute consultation, and it was diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment. And you better get started quickly, because you're probably going to die if you don't do it. Contrasted with when I called here and I'm on the phone with Andy for over an hour, and there's open-mindedness here. They're constantly learning and adding the therapies when they're efficacious and safe. If you're in a place where you're feeling pressured to go into conventional treatment, you need to stop and think about what's really best. And do you really want to heal? Do you want to stop making cancer? Often with conventional chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, it creates a situation in your body where the cancer returns or another cancer returns. So if you want complete healing, if you want to be well, whole body, mind, and spirit, and live a long life without cancer, then I'd strongly encourage you to consider an Oasis of Healing.